I'm literally too pale for this to white balance on. How annoying. Here we go. And we're back. It's been a hot minute, but I have some things to announce. I hope that you forgive me. I have 2 comic picks this week, and the theme is gonna be kick butt women. Kind of. Are you surprised? You shouldn't be. Let's talk comics. Alright, the last time we sat around and talked comics, I talked about Aquaman. So it's been a hot second, because nobody's really talking about that anymore. That's alright. This week I have for you X-Men Black, Emma Frost. We talked about X-Men Black, Magneto, and the Exorsisters. We're gonna start with Emma Frost, who's probably one of my all-time favorite characters ever. Period. Done. I love Emma Frost. I wasn't particularly in love with this comic. I'm not gonna lie. I think portraying Emma Frost as a villain, as this does, is very one note. I'll give it the benefit of the doubt and say that this is just the first issue and perhaps there'll be some deep character development that I haven't seen yet, but I'm tired of Emma Frost the villain. I'm tired of one note Emma Frost, only out for herself, doesn't care about other people Emma Frost. I think that that's boring, and I think that the best part about characters that toe the line between evil and good is that they have their own moral scale and they have their own ideas of what's right and wrong. I don't like that she's the new Black King of the Hellfire Club. She did that already. It was okay. That being said, I am excited to see a new run of comics with her as the lead character, so I'm probably gonna read it anyway, but I do feel a little sucker punched by it. What do you think? Do you like Emma Frost as a bad guy? Do you like her as a good guy? How do you feel about Emma and Scott? Do you care at all? I'm interested to know. I haven't seen her take the spotlight in a while, so, you know, win some, lose some. Emma Frost. Justice for Emma. The next comic we're going to talk about is The Exorsisters. Now this comic was so fun. It gives me 90s Buffy the Vampire Slayer vibes, and the artwork in it is just so darn cute. It is about what you expect it to be. It's 2 sisters who fight demons. Exorsisters. Aptly named. Now, there's a little bit of a plot twist at the end, and I'm not going to ruin it for you because I really want you to read this comic. It is really, really good. I was surprised by how good it was, and I know that October is over, and so maybe some of you guys aren't into spooky stuff anymore, but listen, I'm wearing a dark lip, and I'm watching The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina, and I'm into it. So, spooky stuff coming back, Exorsisters, pick it up. It was a surprisingly fun read. When I was done with it, I felt like I wanted to read more. It wasn't too deep, it wasn't too crazy. I just really enjoyed it. This one was just a good time. So if you're looking for a good time comic, pick up The Exorsisters. If you want to complain with me about what's happening to Emma Frost, pick up X-Men Black, Emma Frost, and let me know what you think. I'm really curious. Now, with the comics out of the way, I'd like to talk to you about a podcast that you should be listening to. It's called the Shortbox Podcast. It's North Florida's premier podcast for all things pop culture and comics. Now, I sat down with the folks from Shortbox, who, by the way, just won an award for Jacksonville's best podcast from Folio Weekly. If that's not an endorsement, I don't know what is, but you guys should listen to them. They're really cool. It's truly like sitting around with some of your best friends and just chatting about nerd stuff. And they're interactive. You can email them and talk to them. They're on social media. Here's all their social media handles here. They stream everywhere that you can get a podcast, and so you don't have to look too hard for them. The Shortbox Podcast. They were nice enough to let me sit down with them while they recorded an artist spotlight on Alex Ross.
I want to give a quick shout out real quick before we kind of get into the crux of this to First Coast News, specifically Destiny Johnson, digital journalist there. She joined us today to take pics of us for some reason and interview us about the podcast.
For some reason.
Just answer like
unison.
Like you're talking like
hive mind, no, hive mind.
Yeah, hive mind only.
We are all trying.
And yeah, just I don't know. I always say like be normal, but like you can be normal.
Say and spell. Okay. It's weird being on the other side.
Yeah. For
My name
record-keeping
is
purposes.
Ed Dansart, Botter Milligan.
Ashley Laney.
My name is Cesar Cordero. I am a co-host for the Shortbox Podcast.
Thank you. All right.
This guy.
And
Cut out his resume over here.
there you go. Yeah. I wanted you guys to come prepared with a printed CV. You're all letting me down. Okay, so first things first is...
What does the Shortbox Podcast do for Jacksonville? Well, what I think we all do for Jacksonville is we are Jacksonville. We are all from here. We like doing stuff around here. We are also all in a sort of subculture that has become part of a bigger mainstream culture. It wasn't always that way. So it's cool to see that the things we grew up loving and we like talking about now extend outward.
Sounds like a Benetton ad.
When I listen to podcasts, I kind of feel like I'm friends with these people, even though it's just one side and I'm just listening to them. And so I think it's really cool when people listen and then you see them out at events in Jacksonville, at comic shops, people write emails and stuff. It's just kind of like a bigger connection.
Same question?
Yeah.
Barter's like, line?
Well, I mean, between what Cesar and Ashley said, I think encapsulates it the best. We are, your friends that like comic books. We're your friends that debate the latest movie release. We're fanboys and fangirls ourselves. The only thing that separates us is the mics in our faces. We're the people that we are catering to.
Yeah, I agree, and like I said, we all have this thing that we all love this thing, but we all have different points of view and different perspectives, like age, gender. I think we cover a lot of ground, and we can, anyone can, I think, listen to the show and relate to it on some level. So it's been a fun experience.
We progress not only just from the core group, as you can see, it's the Walt and Drew. It's advanced to actually save our head. We've also just advanced as far as technology-wise. I mean, our sound's gotten better. Our format's gotten stronger. We've catered to, and I think a big part of it is people just started listening. We actually started finding out, oh snap, people are listening to us, and we should take it seriously. We should cater to what works. So that definitely had an influence on how we went about progressing and taking the show to the next level.
Yeah, and this is a softball that I want everybody to answer. What's something, I say that, but maybe you guys will have a hard time deciding because I can't decide anything ever. What's something that you've read recently that you really like? Like if someone was coming to talk to you and asking for a comic recommendation, what would you, doesn't necessarily have to be comic, but sort of in that realm. Could be graphic novel or a trade, doesn't have to be a single issue, something that you would recommend to somebody. I work with Coliseum of Comics, so I will recommend them to go get up at Coliseum of Comics on Park Street.
Hey.
Yeah.
When I worked at a shop, I would always, there would be people asking, who are brand new, didn't grow up with it. I'd always recommend like sagas, kind of my go-to. That's just, it has, I think, such a broad appeal. It covers, multiple genres. Can be a little graphic. I let them know about that at times. Nothing that offends me, but you never know everyone's sensibilities. But saga is almost like has been kind of my go-to since I was at the shop, and even now I think that's probably one of my go-to titles.
Yeah, when I worked at the shop, because they have those Image first trade paperbacks for $9.99.
Yeah.
So if anyone came in not knowing what to read, I made sure we always had Saga Volume 1.
Mm-hmm.
It really is such an amazing book. I mean, Southern Bastards is my favorite. I know it's not for everybody, but I can't. Yeah, I can't stop talking about it. It's my favorite book that's out there.
I guess recently I have been on a Junji Ito kick. And I grew up reading horror comics, and not to exclude stuff that came out in the 50s and 60s, so like EC stuff, even the Warren Publishing stuff. So I kind of came up on Bernie Wrightson and Al Feldstein, and it's cool to see that in Japan there's a guy who is just as in love with that sort of thing and produces Japanese anthology comics in the horror vein and does it very well, and also draws them not in a sort of typical fashion. Like they're drawn almost, not photorealistically, but closer to that than, say, a comic like Bleach or even Berserk.
Yeah, it's not cutesy.
Right. So definitely that and Astro City, but we'll get into that with our comic
I'd recommend, current-wise, Cosmic Ghost Rider. like this. I don't know if it's a limited series. I think it might be, but it's written by Donnie Coates. He's kind of a newcomer as far as in the comic book writers world. He's writing for Marvel, I think exclusively right now. But it's a fantastic, fun book. I forget the name of the artist right now off the top of my head. But the art is gorgeous. It's a kind of Elseworlds retelling of like what would happen if the Punisher became a herald for Galactus and made a deal with Mephisto as well. So it's like a really good amalgam of like a bunch of
ridiculous,
yeah.
but it's like I think it's like a comedy title.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
It's not.
So you got this.
It is.
So you got Frank Castle and this amalgam of different like power, and he ends up stealing like this baby Thanos, and he's committed to this idea of like, if I can raise him right, then he won't be this mass suicide killer that we all know. So it ends up just being like a calamity of just like fun and outrageousness, and to me it's like, man, this really encapsulates like that awesome off-the-wall fun of comic books. It doesn't have anything to do with the continuity. It's not canon per se. It's not like super serious or emotional. It's just like a perfect middle ground of fun.
It's like a popcorn movie.
Yeah.
No lasting stakes. sounds like Marvel.
Yeah. And okay, so unless there's anything you guys want to add, one of the last questions I'm going to ask is, perhaps most importantly, where can people listen to you? Where can they find you on social media? And what the hell do you have coming up next?
Cool. All right. Yeah, I got it. So what do we have coming up next? Well, actually, let me go back. Where can people find us? So there's hundreds of podcast apps out there, but we are definitely on the more popular ones. So iTunes, Stitcher Radio, streaming services like Spotify. We're also on. As far as social media wise, we're on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. And what do we have coming up next? So today we're recording an artist spotlight episode on Alex Ross. We're also going to be doing a live event at Coliseum of Comics. It'll be a Born Again / panel review style episode of Daredevil Born Again. And we're also looking at more future live episodes. So we're going to continue just recording great episodes in podcast format, and also incorporating live episodes where our fans can meet us and engage us and be a part of the show.
The Coliseum of Comics live event will be one where any and everyone can go, and that's going to be on the 17th.
Yes,
right?
November 17th,
November 17th
Saturday.
At Saturday, 7 o'clock.
Yep.
And like he said, it's just basically going to encompass more or less a review of arguably one of the best Daredevil graphic novels ever written. So that's kind of something we're excited about.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you want to add? Anything you're dying to let people know out in Jacksonville? That maybe watch First Coast News, but don't listen to the Shortbox Podcast?
Give comic books a shot. There's probably more than likely something out there for you. Some of my favorite moments of the podcast and meeting fans is the ones that are not the biggest comic book fans, that have no idea what we're talking about when we're getting super inside baseball in the comics, but just enjoy our passion for it, And I'm super confident that you can walk into your favorite, into a comic book shop locally, especially here in Jackson. I think a lot of the owners here have a passion for the genre and are welcoming for readers who have never opened a comic book. You can go in and tell them the type of movies you like or the type of television you enjoy, and 9 out of 10 times there will be a title for you.
I think also that we put a lot of work into trying to make this a good show, a good podcast for the listener, because we are the listener as well. So I think we are the podcast that most people like and don't realize yet.
Damn, that was such a broader statement. I love it. Yo.
So I was finishing my video to publish today with the Shortbox Podcast, and unfortunately I got the news that Stan Lee passed away after 95 years. Stan Lee is a World War II veteran, and you know him and I know him as the co-creator of Marvel, and just about every famous Marvel character you can think of he had a hand in. And I just want to say, from me to Stan Lee, thank you so much for the stories, for the imagination, and may you rest in peace. Excelsior! But seriously, as you can see, the folks over at the Shortbox Podcast are super cool. So if you're looking for more nerd news or more exciting things in pop culture and comics, you should definitely give them a listen. They are way worth your time, and they were so nice. So I really appreciate it. Thank you to them. And let me know what you think. Let me know what you think of them. Between me and you, us people who are into nerd stuff have to support one another. So go, give them a like, give them a listen, tell them how cool they are on all their social media handles. Okay, thank you. Glad we could have this talk. And I'll leave you with this bit of nerd news. It's a little bit of housekeeping, but this Florida gal is headed all the way out to Portland, Oregon. Me and my dog are taking on the country, and I'm accepting a job there as a digital investigative journalist, but I will resume these videos when I get out there. So there's gonna be a little bit of a hiatus, but you can find me in my mediumly warm takes, not hot takes, just lukewarm, right here on Twitter, hello_Destiny. And you can tell me what comics you're reading, what nerd news you want to hear about, you know, everything and all things I'm interested. Send me pictures of your dogs. Whatever. Alright, you can get both of these comics and more at Coliseum of Comics on Park Street in Jacksonville. That's my local comic book shop, and John and Amber are so nice and they can help you find a comic that you should be reading, but you're not. Go tell them that I said hi, because I won't be here anymore to tell them hi every week. So, you know, they'll need someone new. Go let them help you find something cool, and then tweet me about what you're reading. You know. Go visit them. They're super. I just want to say thank you to everybody in Jacksonville and beyond who tweeted me about these videos, shared them, took time to talk with me about what they're reading and what they're doing, and I look forward to continuing this kind of stuff when I move to Portland. Thanks so much.